Hey guys, Magix here, and welcome back to another MTGO Modern League. As always, with some Uro action. And well, I didn't have that much time to grind, so I just recorded the first league that I played, and only the only league in this week. But well, it's mostly the same list as all the last videos. The only real change here is that I want to try out Gargaroth again, sideboard of second explosives, but yeah, you could run either of those cards. Doesn't really matter that much, I think. And then I saw a Twitter post from McWinsource or Tom White, who said that instead of the second breeding pool, we should run Flooded Grove. So I figured, why not give this a try and see how it goes. So without further ado, let's jump into the league.
Push the goddamn button!
You heard what she said.
Alright, match 1 on the draw. Well, hand looks good. Like, we have a force if it's a matchup where it is necessary, as well as 2 land drops, some ramp, and yeah, Teferi Time Raveler, as well as a Supreme Verdict potentially on turn 3. But it seems like we are playing a Growth Spiral Mirror, so could be a Wilderness Reclamation version, could be just really a Troll Mirror, kind of. Could also be Scape Shift variant or something. And yeah, well, since opponent is tapped out and I want to try to resolve Growth Spiral and keep up with his land drops. If I wait till he untaps, then he can Remand, and that would feel horrible. And we still have a force to maybe catch a Teferi Time Raveler. He's there on band and just plays this one Triumph as a random card. Well, seems like he is deeper into red, so at this point I don't think he is at band. Unfortunately, we are starting to miss land drops here. And yeah, this is exactly what I mentioned. Now he starts remanding and we don't get anywhere here. And he builds up mana advantage for more remands and shenanigans. It feels bad. So, I mean, if he Force of Negation, Force of Negates, however you want to call it, our Growth Spiral, that is also fine. But yeah. Now he is really going ahead. Please no Wilderness Reclamation here. That would be brutal. Can't play Uro yet, but okay. So it's definitely Escape Shift deck. So we won't need Supreme Verdict, I think. And luckily we have Force. And yeah, let's try if we can resolve the Teferi here. The last 2 cards are Force and another blue card, and he is empty. So luckily he couldn't prevent the Teferi. Now if he just plays maybe Fetch Land and escapes Uro, that is okay. We can still bounce it back, and we are not that far behind on card advantage. The important thing is that he can't use his remands and commands that efficiently anymore. And this looks like another Cryptic, exactly. So yeah, Force here. Very on the board, or else Remand again. Also good that Force exiles the card, so he has to play another one for escape. So opponent only has 1 card in hand. Throw Graveyard. That's about it. So with Cryptic in hand, I don't want to tap out here. Can, though, if he has another green source, escape Uro first, draw out our counterspell, and then follow up with Escape Shift. Or he has enough green sources because of all these triumphs. But, well, hopefully he has maybe like a Lightning Bolt or something in hand. Can't really use. Now we are finding the land drops, and since we don't have any more counter spells, might as well use our own Uro here. Right. Here we go. Now, please, not another Scape Shift, but what can I do? To hold out this turn. Well, opponent concedes. A little bit preemptive, but he only has remands in hand or something. So we bring in Veil of Summer against the counterspells, Dovin's Veto, the Ashioks, and Aether Gust. I don't think a Scapeshift variant can run Field of the Dead, though it could be mistaken. Yeah, cut apart the Exile. The walls don't seem that great. And we got maybe one mana leak. Because we both are ramping ahead so fast. The mana leak becomes kind of weak. And I mean, we both play very fast, so I have to keep up here with my commenting, but you can see that barely 1 minute on each of our clock was spent, and this was kind of a control mirror, so opponent really knows what he's doing. Well, here I keep a hand with 2 islands. Not that exciting, but the rest of the hand looked pretty good, like if we hit that 1 fetch land for a Temple Garden. The ideal. Then you draw cards that are not land drops. Always so tricky, like on the one hand, MTGO sometimes floods you out with land after land after land. Then you have like 9 lands by turn 5 or something. Then there are other games where the software doesn't give you any other land drop past the second one. It's really awkward now. I want to place a click so we can at least use the mana leak and don't have to discard. Holding up Force with plenty of juice for it. Though, can't force that. And kind of like in the first game, opponent gets ahead on land drops rather heavily. So, well, still nothing we can do here. Here I think I should pitch a Cryptic because we are so far off fourth land drop and at least Uru can ramp us. It's always bad. Discard cards. Control draw. Here comes a land drop. At least now we have Aether Gust plus Veil of Summer or a hard cast Force of Negation. Cast it here probably because we have to prevent a Scape Shift. Opponent has 6 land drops, he needs 8 right now. Kill us. Can also just go for an Uro and kind of force us to. This is the 7th land drop. And yeah, well, really awkward. So I attempted the Ashiok here to prevent his Uro or Scape Shift. This is a charm. It's bad to play into such a counterspell with so much ramp in our deck, but yeah, I mean, turn 6, no 4th land drop. Could have played Uro out, but I think that the upside from Ashiok would be higher here. Now he can get his own down. Yep, can't prevent that. He's back at 5 cards, he has so much more resources to work with, and Cryptic Command up. See, here finally comes the white source, so we have to play Teferi now, hold up the green mana for Veil of Summer. We can at least bounce the Uro. While that is not a feel good moment, at least it's better than dying here. See, well, he tries something in response, but of course he can't do that. So maybe he has a Veil of Summer of his own. He should have just cycled it, because now he can't use it anymore, unless he has a Lightning Bolt to kill Prairie. But opponent, of course, still has 6 cards in hand, so the huge mana advantage. Some turns to catch up to that. 4, 8, 9 mana over there. But with the Teferi in play, if he doesn't have a bolt here, can at least prevent the game over. So let's see. I mean, all his remands are dead. Can use Cryptic to maybe bounce it, but we have Veil of Summer still. Seems like a Cryptic here. Yep, so Veil of Summer can't respond because of the Teferi, so like a better Dispel because Veil draws a card and then he concedes. Oh well. See the Rand post on Teferi now on Reddit. Let's go to the second match while I zip from my coffee here. Because Teferi has won both games, kind of, I guess. Alright, we are again on the draw. Again with 2 land drops, but yeah, Growth Spiral and Uro in hand. Hopefully both Aether Gusts have some text. Well, Spire Bluff Canal, Serum Visions usually means Storm nowadays. So Aether Gust will have text in this matchup. Sometimes it's very relevant, like catching a flashbacked Fast in Flames card counter. You can catch goblins with it, like that. And at least this time the land drops are coming. The opponent is not going for a Baral here, so might have a slower hand. Go with a Growth Spiral and try to ramp. Maybe he has a Remand here, but drawing that out early isn't the worst, because then he can't use it in counter wars, protect his own spells. And well, now we have built up towards the Cryptic draw. And I want more land drops here, so we can try to bounce a land. If I bounce the Spire Bluff Canal, because it becomes into play tapped at this point. He can use Gifts Ungiven in response, of course, but he could have used that in our end step anyways, and I don't want to tap out for his turn, so I think that's fine. Because I don't know what he's looking for right now. If he is picking 2 Stormlords, we can win them. Here, I think I pick Manamorphose and Grapeshot, because he will have only one other Grapeshot. Sure, he has all the mana in the world now, but that's fine. And now we have a window to actually resolve the Teferi here. So let's hope that we don't die now against Baral and then him storming off. But then he has only red mana, like he usually needs blue. I mean, he has 1 Manamorphose in the graveyard, so I guess with the Baral he could have stormed off, but he didn't have it before, so I don't know. We can also still prevent. Ritual then, but okay, he just builds a few goblins. But that is not a big empty the Warren, like why didn't he shock in his defense and use a few more rituals? So in this case, I actually use Aether Gust on one of the tokens, bounce another token, and play a wall. Then Teferi will survive at 1. And then soon we will have Uro to prevent his aggression plan. Or we have Field of the Dead and just wall off these goblins with some zombies. And we still have Cryptic up, so it's good. And yeah, opponent concedes, probably again thanks to Harry. Well, we bring in the other Aether Gust, Whale of Summer, and Dovin's Veto, like always against any combo matchup nowadays. So I don't like too much of these Planeswalkers, especially not on the draw. It's so hard to tap out for them. At least Hero of Dominaria gives you back a few mana, so that is really important. And it can deal with Aria of Flames if they play that. Wall, of course, also not that exciting. And I think Euros are enough. You really need explosives, or rather a few mass removal against the empty torrents. So I'll leave Verdict and here, I guess Engineered Explosive only needs 2 mana, it's even better. So here again, we have a tricky 2-land hand, but we have a path to exile against the Baral, we have a Time Raveler, explosives. The Dovin's Veto cannot be cast yet, but I need a 3rd land drop anyways, so best thing then to start off with the command from top of our deck. What is up with this league? Like, I think the previous league that I played, we were flooding out like a lot, and I mean really a lot. And now really suck at drawing this additional land drop, but I don't think going up to 29 lands is a solution. So yeah, again missing the 3rd land drop on curve, so I play out the explosives on 0 because why not? I don't think he has brought in artifact destruction, so 4 mana up. If he plays gifts, we can counter it with a Whale of Summer, but he doesn't do that here, and we're drawing gas instead of land drops. Pitch the Uro because I can never tap out at this point. Then I will only die. Opponent builds up mana advantage now. Comes an Area of Flames. I let that resolve here. I should actually try to Remand to hit that land drop. I figured we can also try to Aether Gust at end of turn and take the 10 life with us. That makes it harder for him to storm off naturally. Then I even don't attempt the Aether Gust end of turn, so it's kind of weird. I think that was a misplay here. Wasted 2 mana there. And now any cantrip that he plays might kill us. On the bright side now, we have Whale of Summer up. He tries to do something in response, but can also remand his own spells to kind of play around the Whale of Summer. So yeah, it really hurts that he has such a big mana advantage over there. Any spell he plays triggers the Area of Flames, so can't fight that well about it. So here comes the Remand. Let's see if he has a second Remand or even a Mystical Dispute hard cast is good enough. Right? At least, I mean, Whale of Summer will redraw or replace itself, so it's not a big deal, but there, now he goes with Remand on Remand, and then can Remand again. But then we can play Teferi and maybe bounce the Area of Flames. Whale of Summer hopefully draws a land here. But then he could, instead of playing out the Area of Flames again, just storm off naturally because we are tapped out. So it's really a tricky situation here. At least we have the goblins covered if you want to look at the bright side. But yeah. We can remand either spell or just let it happen and redraw the Aria next turn with remand back up. Remand back up. I guess if I went for the remand last turn, he could have just remanded his own Aria, wasting my remand, so have changed a lot. Maybe I would have even fetched away the other fetch line, knowing my luck. And the bad thing is, with remand still in his hands, he can also cover the Dovin's Veto because he just bounces his own Area of Flames back to hand with remand, kind of. Like, we try to negate the area, he demands his own spell. But yeah. Being at the bad end of these remand lines really sucks. In this case, I should have used the remand finally, but I still wanted to draw land drops, so well. That's here. That's what you get for missing the land drops too early. Can't even flashback, escape the Uro. So at this point, kind of with the back at the wall. Still 5 cards in hand, so 38 is not that much. Can bounce the Aria with Teferi though, so don't know how much remands they are running. Well, now there is a Baral. Can path it here. Okay. At this point he can probably storm off the hard way. Has to. So yeah, the thing is, even if we bounce the Aria of Flames back, we can just replay it and have all the mana in the world up. So, and he has a third remand. Well, now we can remand the remand. Probably should have mana leaked here because mana leak is dead anyways. And we have to bounce here because Aria can target planeswalkers. So the next spell or the next two spells would vary. Now Teferi will die anyways, but at least we go to 47 then. So they still have Aether Gusts, and if the Flooded Strand could put the Aether Gust back on top, so might be able to stall it out unless he now goes with a lot of mana morphosis and ops and all this shenanigans. So we know that he has a Remand in hand, 3 unknowns. I can't fetch out Mystic Sanctuary yet because I only have 2 islands here. Seaside Citadel is no triumph because Wizard doesn't complete cycles. Okay. Just some goblins saying like pay 2 mana and I deal a few points of damage to you. Should not crack this yet, but I really need mana, I think. Because next turn I probably go with explosives and row and then hope not to die. Let's take 2 damage, create a zombie, and this in response to the trigger I should crack the explosives then. That we have at least a zombie going as well. Maybe I can kill him before he can kill us. At this point it would be a race. I could try to bounce the Area of Flames here with a Cryptic Command. But I really have to get a clock going, and I don't think taxing 3 mana out of him will make a huge difference. Like now we can put Aether Gust back on top for the next turn and have it covered with Cryptic Command against this last Remand in hand. And we are at 43, so let's see if we survive. I mean, we still have a lot of health, but can dwindle down fast. Okay, Spirit Ritual, 3 unknowns and Remand in hand. Did not splice anything on there, so gifts ungiven. Yeah, even if we try to mana leak now, he can just remand mana leak. So I probably just pick spells to make the area bigger. Yeah, this is the game where if I just hit my land drops on curve, like at least up to the 4th one, I think you can never lose this. Due to the fact that we had the goblin plan covered already. But now we are playing so far behind all the time. So if the mana leak would have been Remand in the situation, it would have changed anything because he still has Remand in hand. Okay, so let's see. Okay, there we go. Just a few more rituals. So I think I put the cantrips into the graveyard, hoping that he bricks on spells. Like, okay, he can cast more rituals here. Like 15 damage or something. Then if he doesn't have something to follow that up, could maybe pull out of this because we can bounce the Aria of Flames with one of the Cryptics. Like he has Remand and 2 Unknowns by now. So if he wants to hold up Remand, he can only tap down 1 more mana. And well, it's a Grape Shot. So we are dead here because just putting the Remand on stack with a Storm trigger there, yeah, we die because of Aria of Flames. So yeah, unfortunately he had it there. If I bounce the Aria instead of playing Uro out, I might survive this turn. Maybe. No. Yeah, maybe I could have won there, but at this point, Storm Trigger are just dead, so still. Not giving the gratification to the opponent. Well, now I bring in Celestial Purge because we know that he's on the Aria plan, but then again, we have already 3 Aether Gusts, and Purge is really narrow. We can bounce it with Prairie and Cryptic as well. We have Hero of Dominaria to tuck it. I don't know. Like, you could bring in Celestial Purge probably over something else, but it's really only for Electromancer and Aria of Flames, and I think that is too narrow, my taste. Anyways, let's go into match game 3. No white mana here, but this time we are on the play. We have a Spell Snare, which is one of the better cards to have in the early game, because it can catch Baral. And we have an Uro on 3 as well as a Force and a Cryptic, so I think you can keep this. Playing I'll probably Sanctuary on 2 because I want to get this Uro going. We can hold up Spell Snare against an early Baral. Doesn't do anything, we might Uro on 3. Now we draw an island, so it's tempting to play the island instead to get Mystic Sanctuary off later, but I really need Cryptic on 4. I don't draw another island. We Arc Ward, so I play the Sanctuary out instead. And now he has Remand up, but could try to draw out the Remand. Then again, we have another land drop in hand, and Spell Snare and Aether Gust up here. We are not in a rush yet. Let's see. Place this defense tapped, alright. Teferi Time Raveler without us, without having white mana here. But yeah, now we are kind of in the situation like in the first game. Should maybe use Cryptic there, end of turn. Try and hit our land drops. Bouncing the Spireblood Canal can buy us a turn. Something. He plays gifts, he plays gifts. Plays Remand, well, 1 less in hand, I guess. Sickle Dispute, alright. Got it. Like, eventually these counter spells will hit anyways. So drawing them out during a turn where they don't storm off is okay. Or he gives in response to us fetching. Usually they board out most of the gifts to bring in more grind cards like pieces of a puzzle, so kind of interesting that our opponent still left most of them because he has them in all of the games. Because it's so easy in post-board games usually to counter that with a single Whale of Summer. But okay. Get our white source here, and then we can play the Teferi Time Raveler, holding up Spell Snare, Force, and Aether Gust. That's a fine. Okay, it takes a little while. Okay. Whenever I try to jump ahead, he finds it. So definitely pumping the Empty the Warrens into the graveyard. Then I think since we played Teferi out, we don't have to pick Mystical Dispute. Past in Flames is not that threatening right now. So you could make an argument pitching the mana actually. But maybe he has the mana already in hand. But yeah, giving him the Mystical Dispute is definitely correct because we jammed Teferi here. I don't know if it's correct to give him the Ritual or Past in Flames. Dumping Empty is also easy because we don't have Verdict or an Explosives here, so let's see. Okay, so he still has stuff like Pieces of the Puzzle, no way to counter it here, but it was not a great piece. Only finds in other pieces. Morale's in the graveyard now, so he probably jams off the other one. Okay. And 3 Baral's gone. Let's see, he can pick between Rituals and Gifts. Cards of those. Probably picks Gifts and Ritual. Probably Desperate because he can slice it. No, didn't pick the Gifts, that is interesting. Up. Okay, yeah, Mystical Dispute Graveyard makes sense. Well, we have a hand full of counter magic. But we are missing land drops, so I minus the Teferi, and luckily I hit it. I don't have the window to play this Uro out here yet. I want to get his resources first. So now it's 6 lands against 6 lands. So let's see. Okay, this ritual might be for a grape shot to kill off the Teferi. Anamorphose, let's Spell Snare that to prevent drawing more stuff. Right, Desperate Ritual. I mean, with the Manamorphose, he can kill the Teferi anyways if he has Grape Shot, and I don't think we die from 19 here yet. He storms off a little bit more. Okay. Okay. Mana for you. 4 mana left up. Maybe 4 Past in Flames. Or 3 mana left up. Plays Past in Flames now. Can exile it with Force of Negation. Or just put it back on top. Also possibility. Can't win a counter war. Can't bounce the Fairy with maybe Echoing Truth because we have Veil of Summer. So yeah, goes for the Grape Shot and kills it. Nothing we can do there. Take some extra damage, but not lethal. Right, very dead. And now, yeah, I was too fast there. Now he remands his own Grape Shot. I should have prevented that. Couldn't do it before, of course, because the Teferi was in play. I was just clicking OK, 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 get this damn Storm Triggers off the stack. And then he used this window to remand his own spell. And then he Grape Shots us again. But yeah, we are not dead. Just go down to 7 now. But still, I could have prevented him redrawing a card using one of the forces to get rid of the Grape Shot original. Okay, go down to 6. 5. So I hope he doesn't have another copy. Spell Snare back on top because it can prevent Stormlords, Rituals, most of the stuff that is dangerous. Play out the Uro, go back up to 8. And I mean, the next Uro we go back up to 11, so he really has to hit with this Past in Flames to get a huge storm count, I think. Has 3 unknowns in hand. Comes the last Baral. Have the Spell Snare for that. Works. Can't Past in Flames yet. Okay, just a small Empty the Warrens. Wait. 6. I mean, it's still dangerous, but we can escape Uro. Thanks to Flooded Grove, the mana is good enough. And with Force up, we can always catch the Past in Flames. We also have Veil of Summer to protect it, and opponent is running out of cards, so doesn't look too bad here. Go back up to 11. We go and take 5 damage if he attacks. Slowly but steadily, the Uro will win this. What is this? Past in Flames. We could fire off Force here, but we also have drawn Remand, so figure let's cycle this first. Maybe hit an Explosives or something. So he has Past in Flames and still 2 cards in hand. He can't Storm off here because he has only 1 mana up. Can't even Grape Shot or anything, so it's 1 on top, 1 on bottom. We block a Goblin. 5 damage. Next turn we gain 6 back. So we have Uro and Uro. Our party. Who needs rogues, cleric, wizards, warriors? If the party can consist of Uro and bro Uro. So there we go. Back up to 9. Put him down to 12. Play out friend here. Original. Back up to 12. Ship the turn back. Go to 7 again. So Past in Flames and still 3 unknowns. But if he wants to cast Past in Flames, he only has 2 mana to work with, so. Right, we go to 7. Next turn he goes to 6. Then he has to start leaving back some goblins. More force. That back on top. Then maybe end of turn path a goblin, and then he has to decide if he wants the land drop or keep the mana morphos. See? Still counter Past in Flames here. Grape Shot wouldn't kill us. Tries Grape Shot with another Remand. We can this time counter it. Like, if he goes with mana Grape Shot now and tries to Remand his own Grape Shot, we can prevent that. Doesn't do any of those, so we start getting rid of the goblins. Since all the Barals are gone, the probability of him having Stormlords is not that high. So, yeah, this extra point of damage can help us later. He tries to hardcast a Grape Shot, deal the last points of damage, because that is the only way I really see him winning this. Us having so much mana up now, he won't resolve any other spell, and really has to build kind of like a storm count with our own cards. He has to pressure us in using those cards. His attack would put us down to 6. I go and deal with one of the goblins, but yeah, of course this puts the storm count on the stack, so as I mentioned, if he attacks here with everything, his plan has to be kill us with a Grape Shot, so in this case, casting the Aether Gust here doesn't make a difference. And here comes Desperate Ritual. Okay. Claims 2 unknowns. One is a Grape Shot. Then we don't have to eat or counter this and increase the storm count here. We have everything covered with the cards in hand. Just can't allow him to hit this storm count to kill us from 7. That's the main concern here. Some flames, let's counter that for good, because otherwise he gets another storm count out of it, maybe. Storm count 4. Comes an Opt. It's risky, letting that resolve. If we counter this, he has only 1 card in hand, so if we counter that and he has an Grape Shot now with Storm Count 6, will only deal 6 damage. 7 damage, I mean, but we have still one more counter spell after the Storm Trigger go on the stack. So if we now counter one copy, or rather the original, we will survive on exactly 1 life. This was the past the Exile that I played several turns ago. So as I mentioned, every point of life here matters. Of course, also all the Uro triggers. And yeah, with that we have won this game on 1 life. Thanks to Uro. Again. So, Uro sends his regards. Let's go to match number 3. This time on the play with 4 lands in hand and a Wall of Blossoms to pull us hopefully through the game. And opponent has the triple Mishra's Bauble. It's a fun festival of triggers. So he looks at this draw, crack it. You want to crack it. Want to see what I draw, then you see what you draw, decide if you want to fetch, and then you can crack it for the next draw, 3rd copy. So he knows that we are an Uro deck, but that is no surprise if he sees Prairie stream, play out the wall. And this is, the other way of the deck, where you draw a lot of lands and have enough early game action sometimes. So Uro is really important in his hand to cycle into more gas. He draws 3 cards, does want to draw the card that's on top of the deck, so he doesn't crack the fetch land. Cracks for Overgrown Tombs, so it's probably a Death Shadow variant with all these baubles. Or just a Sultai control version with Lurus or something. 4th bauble incoming, Baby Goyf, or what is it called? Soldier Goyf? Whatever. Play Uro out. Ramp ahead here a little bit towards Hero of Dominaria and Cryptic Command, because probably need interaction. See some stubborn denials in our future. Right. So all the bubbles are gone at least, so the trigger festival stops here. Goyf now is 3-4 due to the Uro. But can't attack the wall yet. Inquisition can only take Force or Growth Spiral. It's fine. A little bit sad because you can hardcast Force alongside the Path to Exile to the feature and catch the Stubborn Denial. But it's not worth the pitch a card to prevent this Inquisition here and go down on cards. Need the resources to work the Shadow deck. And it's a long pause and picks the Growth Spiral actually. Because it's a redraw probably, and this means of course Goyf becomes a 5-6 finally. On the bright side, this card pulls our graveyard a little bit faster. I would have blocked here alongside the fetch land to escape Uro, but we are still missing another card. So I keep the wall for 1 more turn. This is a fatal push on it, so it's right. Want the growth spiral on top, I think. And here, now we run into the stubborn denial probably. Could have hold up the Cryptic Command and try to bounce the Goyf to at least keep the Teferi. But this way we can escape the Uro and eat the Teferi away. And it means that he can't grow the Goyf as big as before because the other Planeswalker is out there. Cryptic can hopefully use later on. So while the Goyfs are 6/7s now, after the escape they are manageable again. Hopefully we draw like a Path to Exile here or something. So, Uro Help us. Well, there you can see. This time around, we draw all the lands, while opponent only has 2 lands. So, while we have only 3 cards in hand and opponent has 6 cards in hand, well, if you count the permanents on the battlefield. There. We are leading on card advantage, but this advantage is no advantage if we don't have Field of the Dead. Attacks here. I attempt to block. That probably means he has a Dismember or something. Discards the Force. Yep, here comes the Dismember. It's dead. Boys are 5-6 again. Ay. We draw nothing but poop. Now we have to go into the tap draw modes. In which case I should have probably played out the fetch land to Cryptic back on top and stall a little bit more, but he has a Stubborn Denial anyways. So yeah, he has all the cards because he doesn't have land drops, of course. So it's really bad here. It's probably for Death Shadow now. Just land drop, right? Block now to not go too low and die against him. Next turn or something. Now he can play Death Shadow, and then we need a Supreme Verdict here. That would be ideal. Yeah, let's see as well. At least wasted card there. Draw Spiral. Okay. Be into a fetch land or something. Nope, just to Flooded Grove. So, well, at least we have the cards again to escape Uro one more time. Hopefully he doesn't have an other Dismember. Go back to 10. To path the Exile. One more time Uro. Yes, what I'm talking about. Then he has to decide if he really wants to attack, because he doesn't kill us with the attack, dead on the swing back. But if he has a Teemo Battle Rage, it's risky. So he has still 2 cards in hand. Not a Death Shadow, I think he would have played one. Does not attack, so I don't know if the Teemo Battle Rage. So yeah, let's move to combat. So you have it, or do you have to block? So if he had a Battle Rage, he should have attacked. Ever. Land drops. And another Uro. At least Uro can trade with Goyf here, and then he has only 1 card in hand. But man, are we flooding out by turn 8? Mind you, we have only turn 8. Remember one of the past matches where by turn 6 we only had 2 lands? Pepper Ridge Farm remembers. And then we draw the Mana Leak here. Probably fire that off the next spell he plays just to fill the graveyard again. Yep, some Goyf. Go. I think the Mana Leak is not the worst if we can follow that up with a removal spell or something. Because he can't hold up Stubborn Denial now. Okay, after Exile. Top deck's good, we top deck back good. 1 more card and Uro is live, so even a fetch land would be fine. Go. Nope, just a normal island. Keep that in hand. Maybe to trigger Field of the Dead later. Dust. Yeah, well. It was nice to know ye, Uro. But we still have a Jace, a Teferi, 3 Time Ravelers, and 1 big Teferi left in the deck. Issue is that he can escape this Cling to Dust a few times and get ahead on cards again. He probably eats out Urus first. That makes his Death Shadows a little bit weaker though, so... And okay, After that, here you are. Rewarded for keeping the island in hand. Let's see. First for the last Goyf or for Death Shadow? Just the play. And we have so much more lands than the opponent in play. It's 5. Double the amount. Then some. So at least the Cling to Dusts were not for free. Death Shadow is only a 2-2, and then finally we top deck Jace and he can't hard cast the Stubborn Denial. Nor can he cast Drown and Block, because we have only 3 cards in the bin. And Brainstorm, here we go. Here we go. Find Teferi Time Raveler. We can play Uro out first. Ramp the island. Trigger for another zombie. And if he now uses Cling to Dust to draw some cards, then we keep the Uro in the graveyard. If he uses 4 mana to eat out the Uro, well, that's his entire turn. And we still have Force of Negation up in case he attempts another traverse or something. I don't attack here. Don't want to get his Death Shadow to 4-4 so that he can use hardcast Stubborn Denials again. We're not in a rush now. We have 2 Planeswalkers on the battlefield, so let's ride this advantage. Any land drop is another zombie, so that's good. And if he uses Cling to Dust now, we can also force it, because he taps down his blue source here. Have tapped probably green source. He has another traverse, but I definitely get rid of the Cling to Dust now. Then we need only 1 more card to escape the Uro again, and this wins the game. So sometimes you flood out and Uro still wins. And yeah, now we have a tremendously good sideboard actually. With Isolate, Celestial Purge, Condemn, Whale of Summer. Aether Gust is fine against all the Goyfs, and Reverse. Sometimes they have their own Whale of Summers. And Whale of Summer to counter their discard and counter spells, of course. And I'm not a fan of Force here. It can catch Cling to Dust, sure, but it's usually 3 mana negate, and that is not a feel good. Remand also not good. They don't have any Gourmet Anglers that you can catch with it, or Snapcaster Mage flashback, so rather keep in a few picks and yeah. Sport plan. So after this match, I have to make a break. I have to go out, do some stuff. You it will only be a second, just heads up here. Well, this is a hand with at least 4 land drops, some cantrips, and the Whale of Summer, so I think we can keep that. I don't like taking much mulligans against discard decks. But of course it can backfire, because he starts. If he has a lot of discard in hand and starts discarding the Whale of Summer, then I am at his mercy. We also have a lot of good top decks. There's a lot of spot removal in the deck now. Teferi Time Raveler is tremendously good. He brings in more graveyard hate even to deal with Uro, because it stomped him so hard in the first game. After Dismember. Come the Bauble again. No discard here, okay. Right side he has only 2 more cards in hand, and the Goyf is really small. I mean, with the Bauble it's a 2-3 again, but we have the Aether Gust to deal with it. Now we can also play out the wall. I'll just keep up the Growth Spiral and Aether Gust. There are quite some lines we can take here. I kind of still want to protect this hand from this card, I think. We have the Goyf covered. Taking 2 damage is not a big deal here yet, so fortunately he has the 3rd land drop this time. Don't Aether Gust yet. Death Shadow, well. So not that big right now, but here. Growth Spiral now. Stubborn Denial. More power on this. So we pulled up Whale of Summer and Aether Gust for the Tarmogoyf. Their shadow is not that big at least. Gets a 4-4. There should actually Aether Gust here in response to the fetch land trigger so that Tarmogoyf is gone. Should have done that in response because now he can just put it back on top. That is Arc Ward. Don't Aether Gust here for some reason or another. Plays out the Lurus as well. Now I have taken much damage, I think. I should have used the Aether Gust in response to the Burden Catacombs. Now this looks very bad here. Veil of Summer didn't have any text so far. Now he can put the Goyf just back on top. So the Aether Gust is not that great. And while the wall can block a little bit here, gets extra cards every turn, so there's not a lot I can do. And he still has the Spell Bomb to draw a card, so it's lost. So yeah, I should have taken the Goyf away, but the issue is that I didn't have any spell for the Lurus either, and thing just draws and draws and draws. This board position, we don't have anything to catch up with that, so very unlikely to win. Have much time, so I just jam. We'll bring out the Spell Snare or another Isolate. So far we only have seen Tarmogoyf for mana, and this is narrow. We keep a hand with 2 Isolates and these have a lot of Death Shadows. Then again, Isolate can also catch a Spell Bomb, protect our Uro, so sometimes that can also be a nice play. Inquisition now sees this hand and he probably picks the Uro. Unless he has a lot of Death Shadows in hand, then he might pick an Isolate. Note that Isolate has to target something that is exactly 1 mana, so you can't hit Bauble or something. I mean, he can always crack in response, but it's not 1 or less, so you can also don't catch an, let's say, Chalice of the Void, something. Alright, then we draw a Wall of Blossoms. Let's play that out here. There's a Death Shadow, we can still isolate it. Want to draw into the deck a little bit more. And here comes the Spell Bomb. So now he has to leave up this mana. So we also have the Uro going. We are not forced to play the Uro out here, like, he isn't applying any pressure. So we also have drawn Whale of Summer now. And since he has no creature, Stubborn Denial isn't that fantastic. So, well, let's see what he's doing. He is the aggro deck in this matchup, I think, so he has to apply pressure. If he doesn't do anything, he can play slower game. And here, punish this discard here with Veil of Summer. If he has Stubborn Denial, we can just pay. If he plays out a Death Shadow, we can isolate that. And if he's missing land drops, then Field of Ruin can also punish that, because we can attack his blue sources. It's usually the goal. Draw also a lot of Aether Gust, so very specific cards here in hand. Play out the Sanctuary here, because it's unlikely to hit enough islands at this point, and sources, bad idea. Still doesn't crack the Spell Bomb because he knows that we have Uro. Bauble. He knows what we are drawing. Plays a Goyf now, we can still Aether Gust that. Doesn't, so let's get rid of the source. Usually the 4-color variants are running basic swamp, basic forest, and that's it. So attacking the sources is not horrendous. And we force the crack on the spell bomb so we can finally use Uro. While it slows Uro down, eventually we'll get there. We now have triple island, so Mystic Sanctuary number 2 is an option. And we draw the third Aether Gust, so bring the Goyfs out. I am prepared. Here comes the path to exile it well, so, well, 5 removal spells in hand. Just has to play the correct creatures. So we have Path against Lurrus, Isolate against Death Shadow, and triple Aether Gust against anything green. I think they are red creatures. We are leading with 3 land drops and a wall, kind of. Shadow is only a 2. Okay, changes now. This is another blue source, unfortunately. Okay, Death Shadow 1. Stubborn Denial is a hard removal again. Maybe we draw a counterspell here. We did not, so let's continue with Go up to 25. Still have a wall to block. Yeah, Sanctuary has no target. I should have played the Isolate probably. Was too greedy to wait maybe for a Mana Leak or something here, or another Whale of Summer. Well, so here comes Stubborn Denial number 1. Of course, fire off the Isolate first because it's the most narrow here. Yeah, if we just exchange interaction here, Pro will be online soon. So red mana, but we have the Aether Gust to prevent more Battle Rage as well. Again, the Shadow is now an 8/8, so 4-turn clock. With the wall, here comes the second Death Shadow. Now it gets ugly. Turn clock. Oh, and we only have 1 white source. See is tapped down. Mana right now, we can get 1 Death Shadow at least. Has a 4-turn clock only again. It's the Celestial Purge because it is more expensive than Path. Have double Aether Gust up in case he plays Goyf. Stubborn Null back up or something. Hits. Dust on the spell, so he gets action. The land that can recycle. Redraw. Bauble again. All the baubles. Take it. 17. Nothing again. Our draw. And it's a second white source. Late. But if he wants to use Cling to Dust to deal with these Uros, he kind of taps out every turn, so let's see. It's in response to the trigger. Gives us a few percentage points in case he top decks a Stubborn Denial here. Doesn't have a second copy so far. Where are your Goyfs, man? I have 3 Aether Gusts here. Well, now he has to use his Cling to Dusts, and he doesn't, so I immediately escape before doing anything else and giving him priority. He just exiles 1 card out of our graveyard. He could prevent the escape here, did not. So I wonder why. Has an Aether Gust, okay. Now let's top deck this again. Maybe he has more of those, but then we trade Aether Gust against Uro and eventually Uro hits. He is at 5 life, so the zombie might go the distance. He has only Tarmogoyfs. we get them. So, worst card for us would be Urus on his side now. Okay, he's fetching down even. Doesn't find anything. Put him down to a block. So at this point we just attack with damn zombie. Maybe we can create some more, then we can go around Death Shadows. Because he's at 2 life. Yep, there we go. Should have really prevented this Uro. Because now we have a virtual 3 zombies. Even if he plays 1-2 Death Shadows, we can get around them if he doesn't have spot removal. So putting him at 2 is definitely nice. Okay, he can use Cling to Dust now to go back up to 7. Let's go back down to 5. Still have lethal for the next turn. And we can still catch Tarmogoyfs, so he really needs Death Shadows now. But 2 are already gone. So, yep, just choice. We have Aether Gusts. Joy. And he concedes. Alright, seems like he has only Tarmogoyfs or something. So, 3-0, I make a quick cut. See you back for match number 4. Alright guys, here we go. Match 4 on the draw. Against Punt Then Wine, which is a rather well-known GO grinder. And, well, we have 2 land drops again. Always deceiving, but got the Exiles, Force, and very Time Ravelers. So, here, it's in the dark probably. Something against everyone. So let's see, opponent takes a mulligan and leads with Radiant Fountain. So off the gate we know that we play against Titan and he leads with Amulet. So try to slow him down and force the Amulet here, which costs us a Teferi Time Raveler, since the opponent took a mulligan kind of now. We can gain some turns and build up, might be worth it. This Cryptic Command that we have drawn here. Let's see. Since Stirrings, okay. To Cavern of Souls, so Cryptic Command not that great anymore. Cavern. Maybe we find one of our Aether Gusts. From the main deck. The ideal now. And, well, now we can at least play Teferi and bounce the Amulet. Getting to that 3rd island here. Or our opponent goes ham, but he has 4 mana, 3 mana now. So, yeah. Can now play the Flooded Strand of Cryptic Command. He doesn't have Titan hand already, but you know how it goes. So if Titan hits, he will probably search for Foot of the Dead. So since I can't counter the Titan anyways, I decide here to play out the because at least we can still pop the Exile the Titan and with Pro maybe we can take lock or something. He has a Dryad here, still that. He has 6 mana. The only downside in not holding up is that we can't counter Pact of Summoner's Pact, but of course for that was not needed. Here comes the Titan. So I path the Exile here in response to trigger before he gets off the dead and gets out of it afterwards. Then again, doesn't have enough lands in play yet, so maybe it was not necessary early. Let's see. Even if he grabs double bounce land, he can't Titan again. Grabs Dominaria West. That indeed. So we know that he has a bounce land in hand, so next turn he can just bounce Dominaria West, grab a pact or something. So given that we have a force in hand and he can't really intervene, maybe Pact of Negation, I decide to play out here. But given that we have drawn Hero of Dominaria, I should actually have played Hero of Dominaria, I think. Because then we have a real win condition on board. Like, Kuro gets stonewalled against that easily. So that's not a guaranteed win condition here. Hero of Dominaria would have been better. Then we could have actual power engine that untaps us mana. I mean, then on the downside, if we play the Hero of Dominaria, then he grabs Bojuka Bog here and gets rid of it. So that was maybe my mind at this point. So he just tries to give the Titan haste here. We can pull path at the beginning of combat. So a little bit unfortunate that he had 2 Titans already in hand, with having to without him having to use a single Summoner's Pact. Then again, we have at least engineered explosives to stall a little bit. So Valakut here, second field kind of with Zuba. So that's not really something to do with this mana, like red. So Summoner's Pact. Sure what he is trying to get, so I choose to force it. Probably he wanted to get another Titan, but yeah, he could have paid the pact, like if I let it resolve and then try to bounce something with Cryptic. Not die to the trigger, but yeah, I think the reasoning was that I didn't want him to grab another Titan. Here we have now an going. I can play explosives 0. Hopefully, we find another land drop here with the Pro trigger and then hold up Cryptic still. I mean, we attack him for 6, so I have a 3-turn clock now. He has only 3 cards in hand. We know that one is a bounce land that creates 2 zombies though. Not the best position, but if we find Mystic Sanctuary alongside Cryptic, maybe we can steal this. It's a Summoner's Pact. Try to counter it with our negate. That's the only thing it can do anyways. Right? Okay. Get rid of one of the zombies. And Aether Gust here. Draw. First. Mana leak though is very bad. Right? Far we are staying in the game. I mean, still this 1 bounce land in hand and 1 unknown only. So okay, here comes other Summoner's Pact probably with Dominaria West. Mute. Pact, Summoner's Pact. Finally counter draw here. Oh. Spell Snare also very bad. And then he has yet another Summoner's Pact. Grabs another Primeval Titan. This was the 4th packed in a row. I mean, sometimes they have it all. And yeah, these are the situations where I kind of wish that we had Hero Dominaria still in hand, but have much else to pitch earlier on, and now we have these dead mana leaks. It's not here, and I didn't even have the fourth source for the Gust here. Feels very bad because we have drawn Plains, Forest, and Temple Garden here. Horrible. It was exactly his last card. Now he can give. Well, at least we can deal with the Titan still, but he has an army of zombies again, and unlike Supreme Verdict, Engineered Explosives can't be back on top, so it's more like a one-shot effect. So we still need something to deal with all those zombies, and well, at least draw fetch land, we can put Cryptic back on top or something. But yeah, I mean, 4 Summoners Pacts, grabs, grab, Slayer Strongholds, and Boros Garrison. It's the Titan Haste, so we have to exile it. Only one more Titan in the deck, so if we could keep the zombie army at bay, we still have a shot to win this actually, because the Gust can still prevent a Dryad. Draw a Sanctuary, so we can put the Cryptic back on top, but in order to draw into it, unfortunately we have to attack. This way Ur dies, but we can escape him soon. Just draw stuff. Then again, we are at 29 life, and opponent has not enough power to one-shot us here. So while the Teferi dies, we are not dead yet. Opponent bounced back Simic Growth Chamber, if you wonder, so he has 1 bounce land in hand. He kind of always loops this to create zombies over and over again. So yeah. I just let go of earlier on and play Hero of Dominaria. I get this because it would be hitting ultimate right now. Could actually have tapped because we don't need to attack into those zombies. Here he attacks in a way that the Teferi will surely die. Then he makes a nice play here in buffing up the zombie 4-2 and then giving a double strike with Sunhope. Don't have anything to do with that, so I should not have blocked there. That was a mistake on my part. Costs me my Uru here, and with that, 1 extra draw. Very bad, especially drawn the Bock here. Pay attention there. Instead, he has fetch land. Weird. Okay. But here, now I have my Cryptic, so another land drop again. These counter spells are rotting in my hand, not anything. So, there are 9 zombies by now, so nothing I can do. And here comes an awkward Modo situation, where we now have to pick the hero that was escaped instead of the hero that we have freshly drawn, and I can't really tell because MTGO is a quality software. And yeah, how to do this? Like, where is the real Uro? So I ask my opponent nicely. Tip, hint. Scroll over the triggers to see which Uro is entering. So this left one is the that is entering. If this is correct, of course. So I pick the right one. Let's keep. Well, we have drawn the land drop. And we have picked the right one. Okay. thanks opponent for the tip. So if you are ever in such a situation, just mouse over the trigger. And well, but anyways, scroll a little bit ahead. Opponent draws an Ancient Stirrings, which I of course can't do anything here. And he has 9 zombies, so at least 18 damage. The Slayer Stronghold 20, and then Double Strike. Kill us. Picks another Growth Chamber, so we know his hand by now. So I can't really block, because I can't lose the Uro, though then again I have to attack next turn, and then I will lose Uro anyways. But in this case then, I only lose it, our opponent doesn't play like this. It's dealing the damage, so I have at least an Uro attack again. Down to 3 here. Can crack the fetch land. Yeah, I tell him, like, if he waits with one single zombie, it doesn't change the clock, but then he can kill our Uro, which is kind of the only way for us to get ever back in this game, because even with Super Verdict, he just, yeah, since he has all these bounce lands in hand, he just makes more zombies over and over and over again. That's why I really needed the Teferi ultimate to do his Field of Dead. Now we have double Cryptic though, so I try to write there. So he blocks with one zombie, he can't pump it up. Now we are in a situation where we have to tap draw, or rather tap bounce the Sanctuary, but it just keeps these 2 lands open, Sunhome and the Slayer Stronghold. Then the Uro will die eventually, so I have to keep the lock up both Cryptic Commands here. That is not a winning line by itself, because eventually he will draw the book and breaks this up, and out the draw engine can't really get in the deck, and yeah. Of course, he can also play for the win here and gives 1 zombie haste. In this case, we can attack though. So this is the opening I meant, like if he just keeps 1 zombie back with both these lands the last turn, it doesn't change the clock, but I can't really attack with Uro. And this is the only he missed. No more basics, so Path to Exile was free. And then comes Khan the Great Creator. Yeah. Minor League won't catch it and won't have the second Cryptic up. So we now can grab Liquid Metal Coating to attack our lands, so though we have the Spell Snare to catch that at least. Yes, we can catch it. But instead he has a Walking Ballista for mostly infinite mana. By now he has bounced the Cavern of Souls, so he can play Cavern on Construct, and then there is no way for me to ever counter this. You can see the infinite mana over there, and there's no way against all these zombies. Walking Ballista to put myself in the game, kind of. So yeah, I can only put the Cryptic back on top. I have to attack the Karn before it grabs something else. Found Field of the Dead, but I don't have nearly enough zombies at this point. Creates way more fields, so winning situation here and just attacks. So we bring in Aether Gust, both Ashioks. Isolate can actually catch an Amulet, so and also Sakura Tribe Scout if he plays that. Elder Gagaroth is not the best. Now we don't. I mean, he has Karns in his deck, so Force can be okay. The walls are a little bit too cute. Maybe it's also wrong to bring in Isolate and just let him have the amulets, like, don't care. First hand was not really keepable. Let's look at it again. I mean, only one island. And, well, this hand is also not keepable because 2 path and lands. So, there, we have to take a mulligan to 5. And, of course, in the first game, our opponent had 4 Summoner's Pacts, so that was also cool. So, well, try it. Draw Spiral and Dovin's Veto here. Start with Jukabok. Has an out against already. This we can ramp up a little bit. Let's tap down here, so maybe find something good. Nope, don't. A Jace here would be tremendously good, but luck with that. Opponent starts with an Explore. I try to negate that to buy a little time here. Earrings again, find Cavern. So we need a counter spell anyways. It's the Breeding Pool, alright. Grab ours too, I guess. Right. Find an arrow. Let's see. Yes, Jukabok, of course. And yeah, here comes the Jace finally. A little bit late. Great a few minutes earlier. Some Riots, so has this Explore anyways. God is gone. Next turn he can play a Titan as well. And with the next few land drops, we know that he has at least one. He gets Valakut triggers, so afterwards, yes, we still brainstorm here. Find another dead and explosives. Play out yet. Also a little bit awkward that he plays a Calm the Great Creator, which can stop the explosives. So no, it has Stony Silence attached. And yeah, well, here comes Titan. At least he doesn't have an amulet, so he can't give Titan haste right away. But I should path the Exile here before the Field of the Dead hits, because I have to path the Riot anyways. Creates more zombies. Again, I have the explosives already. So we brainstorm for our lives here. At least we find the command here. Now we can path away the Titan before he untaps for counter. Then get rid of zombies. And, well, then we don't have command up, of course, so I can only hope it doesn't follow up with something very beautiful. It's explosives. It's against the world. It's more zombies every turn, of course. So not the greatest spot. Here comes a Summoner's Pact. Perhaps another Titan or something. We are still in the same position. Second Titan will find another Tolaria West. The Titan with it. Yep, there we go. Second Field of the Dead. So we have to use this Cryptic Sanctuary, but spanking finding her marshland along the way. Second white source in cross verdict would still be a fine draw here. Now we have Cryptic and Force of Negation up. It's not first. Yeah, if he finds a single Dryad here, this Valakut will blow us out of water, but I don't have time to uptick the Jace. I really have to dig cards with Brainstorm. It's a Karn, I think, yeah. So we put Cryptic back on top. And this Karn. Could let the Karn resolve because we have more power to attack it, but if it just upticks, then it's kind of awkward. You never know what he can find still, so I rather counter it here. There comes another Ancient Stirrings. B. Amulets, okay. Could have been worse. Okay, one card in hand only. Now we have two Cryptics going for us, and we draw an Ashiok, so need the Remand. I want the land drop probably. One Cryptic. Ashiok for the next turn. I should put the second Cryptic and Remand back on top. Play out the Temple Garden here. Play out the Ashiok. We could even mill both cards, but rather not play into his Bojuka Bock with the second Cryptic, so just say go. Or mill him. He hits the Titans out of deck. Hit the Cavern of Souls, so that goes for us. I can only hope that he doesn't have Mystical Dispute here. Doesn't have a Ghost Quarter, so could counter bounce, but we can also just go into the second pick. So we have the Jace, so both options would be viable. Plays the Rot Farm and probably bounces with Bock because he has to get out of this lock. Yep, exactly. So should put the Cryptic on top first. Case. And then let's brainstorm. Okay, so Growth Spiral is the card. Original card. Try to attack. That's all trades for damage. But eventually we have to kill him, so build another Titan, Dryad, Slayer Stronghold, and Eastwood. That was good. And 3 more mills, and we might just storm out or something. So we know that he has Bojuka Bock. No bouncing the Sanctuary here. Just play it anyways. It's fine. Then there's Dryad, so I could Growth Spiral into the Remand, but that doesn't accomplish much, and I have to protect this Jace, unfortunately. Way around it, so I have to counter this Dryad with the second Cryptic, which then means we don't have the Cryptic lock anymore because he has the box still in hand. Ugly turn for us, good turn for him. So 2 Cryptics are gone. Again, 1 card in hand. Else, alright. The second Sanctuary, after Exile, so we might lose everything here. Oh my. So punished. If I put some bad cards back on top, kill an Uro or something here. Target myself, I think. Because the Ashiok will die anyways if the opponent gets to attack. This army dies anyways. And yeah, now the third Cryptic with the second Sanctuary. First my life. Don't know how likely it was to mill over the third Cryptic here. Yes, milling over the second Sanctuary might be a mistake, but I still like all the other cards we have here. So, well, I get rid of the Titan. At least 3 Titans are gone now. No, all Titans are gone. All Titans are away. Now he only has Dryads and Field of the Dead, kind of. Maybe another Karn. So Jace will die here. Attacks in a way that plays around all my blocks and Path to Exile number 2, I guess. So let's see with the Growth Spiral. Maybe we find another Path to Exile. Find Uro. Well, I guess we can get that going for us. Not the greatest against the zombie army, but we might still way out of this game. Planeswalkers are dead. And another Summoner's Pact. Yeah, no need demanding that. Here I was hoping that the 29 land deck actually top decks some lands, but there are more Summoner's Pacts again. Try it. Time for Remand first. Finally get it out of our hands. Lanes. 1, so then Aether Gust. Back on top of it. This card, probably a land. Well, it's maybe not a land because he missed creating some more zombies. So let's get this rolling. Can't deal with Riot right now. Or he keeps the land in hand for the Valakut trigger, of course. We draw Mana Leak. At least we can pitch it to Force. In case he draws another pact or something. We find the Supreme Verdict here somewhere. Ashiok. Yeah, well. Only 2 mana up, so I can't mill this damn Dryad. And there is another Summoner's Pact and I can't Force. So 3 Summoner's Pacts again, but at least all the Titans are gone, so he will have to, well, acted out the Dryad that was on top anyway, so maybe he just blew up the pact. I don't know. It was a weird. It's weird. Explore. Dryad and an unknown. Okay. Play something else now. We can maybe above his land, so he can create Valakut triggers and a lot more zombies because he has the Explorer and Dryad. Make more 10 drops. Us here. It's for 18. For power. Double strike again, but you can't kill, so just for base. And we got 4. And here it is! Supreme Verdict. I missed my Uro attack here. Should have attacked first, but I was so happy to draw the verdict here. Just could now play just Ashiok and milk out of this game instead of playing Uro. So we know that he has Arboreal Grazer. I didn't see any Sakura Tribe Scouts so far. Built over 2 Barns. And he has nothing to bounce the Bojuka box. So yeah, with that we win. Should have this island already in play. So One concedes here because he only has 6.5 minutes on the clock, and might be the case that game 3 goes long. Very grindy game. So I missed one trigger there in the end. So bringing in Isolate if the opponent doesn't have Sakura Tribe Scout, I think is not correct. It's only against Amulet then. Well, solid hand, though we are on the draw, so has a very quick start with double amulets. This can go horrible wrong here. And there is the first amulet. I won't force it. Force for a pact or something. Really need a cheap counter spell for the Titan here. It's about to happen pretty soon. Try it. Yep. There. So we have basics in hand. I can fetch out the fountain instead of Prairie Stream. Anyways. To use Growth Spiral and hold up next turn. Castle here yet, so no Titan. Okay, a Karn, so we have to force. But I can also Growth Spiral first and see if I draw maybe a bad card. That's well, another Growth Spiral. It was good to do this before because now at least we get the ramp down. Right. Now opponent has only 1 card in hand that is unknown. Has 6 mana, so I think if he had a Titan, he would have played a Titan. To 17 or draw Dovin's Veto. Can hold up Cryptic Command, so I don't play the Uber out yet. Then he doesn't have to play the Titan, just attack with the Dryad for bits. He is rather low on resources, which I don't hate here. Now we have drawn a Mana Leak as well. Doesn't have any caverns and can still Mana Leak a Titan, so I use this window and play the Uber out, but unfortunately I don't hit this land drop here. Great. It's in hand. Like a Titan. Okay, the Mana Leak value here. Can maybe bounce this Dryad and draw a card, hold up its Veto or something. That would suck against the second Titan. That's why I wanted to hit more land drops here. No, we don't hit the land drops I want. Bad thing. Second forest for my Uro. Gets Bojuka Bok. Yeah, there it is. Get punished here. Well, let's kill the Bok so he can't break up Cryptic Chains, at least. At this point I don't even bother with the second source because our graveyard is empty anyways. But yeah, I really need more land drops, and that I draw drops. If I decide I'm sick of this Dryad, get rid of it. It's the last basic he has, so next path to Exile is better, and it doesn't really change anything here. But he doesn't play out anything, and we don't draw any lands, so just 2 land drops by now. Comes a Karn. So it's my negate. Noticed the next land drop like for 3 turns, so here comes the Summoner's Pact. For a damn Titan. Has the bounce land in hand, and now he can play the Titan. And get screwed. Really bad, like I needed this additional land drop so badly with this hand. I never found it. It was the only thing I really needed. Cut the Uro and Teferi from my hand. And then it comes way too late. Thank you, deck. Now we have to play the waiting game, kind of, for more land drops with Cryptics. If I don't put Path back on top, 2 more land drops. Cryptics, we can tap draw and tap bounce the Sanctuary. Fog is already gone, so didn't see any counter spells down to 20 cards of this deck last game. So I don't think there are that many at all. Start the clicking. To Tolaria West for yet another Summoner's Pact. It's probably grabs Riots or another Titan. She can also play another Tolaria West. This spirals out of control now. We open it again. It's 1 land drop. It's 27 deck. Everything is too late at this point, I think. Like, yeah, we can stall with the Cryptic, but eventually he will hit the Dryad and just keep us with natural land drops. So don't really get anything going like this. Like, I have to tap draw now. I really need like a Supreme Verdict or something to get out of this mess. Yeah, there's another Cryptic, but again, I needed the land drops. I think it's for 5 or something by now. At least find another one. I could get the Uro going. Hold up Cryptic still, but instead we draw another Teferi here. So now let's see a way out here really. Only playing the clock, but that kind of feels bad after our opponent helped us in the first game. It's also not really like I want this. Here, okay, here comes the Tolaria West anyways. For another Summoner's Pact for the Dryads, and then he just has to bounce lands and kill us. Bella could. So way out really is a Supreme Verdict at this point. Get everything there. Set the board kind of. We have 1 Supreme Verdict and 9 cards, so chances are not very high. Zusa doesn't. Yeah, well, she still matters because now he can do a little more. And just on a 1-turn clock, we only have Cryptic back on top, so yeah, there's nothing we can really do. So it went all down from the first Titan, which I could counter in this 1 turn because I had only 5 instead of 6 mana for Dovin's Veto and Cryptic Command. So only had Cryptic Command and not a single Aether Gust to stall this turn out. And now we can't win because we can't deal with his Dryads, and he has land drops. I can tap bounce, but that doesn't do a lot, so I have to put this path back on top in his upkeep. Tap his team, draw a card, path to exile the Dryads, but still have to find Supreme Verdicts. Maybe we can get lucky, but I mean, he has a land drop and he has Slayer Stronghold. So he can just give the zombie haste and attack us for 4, so no way we win this, so still do the plays, but the game is over. Maybe he doesn't see it, but that's also unlikely. The way he played before. Now we have to path the exile in response to the Valor trigger. Try it out of there. Zombie hastes. That's it. -2. Yeah, so in the first game, I think we have a far better chance if I just play the Dominaria out. There's no point in finding now about all the summon effects. Yeah, and in this game, if we just draw 6 land drop earlier, then we could prevent him from double spelling. Winning this game, maybe 2. So bad luck. Let's go into the last match here. Of course, he also played this very well with the resources he had. So, match. We are on the play. We have 2 land drops again, this time with a lot of draws. So let's hope and see. Playing against the Misty Rainforest deck. Maybe draw something. And it's Infect, alright. Not that bad of a matchup, actually. I mean, we have 3 Time Raveler, which just stomped this matchup, kind of. We can group Path the Exiles with Mystic Sanctuary, and our sideboard is very good against this deck, because it also has a lot of 1-drops and stuff like that that tries to attack us, so all the prowess cards, or the rule against prowess, is also nice against Infect, like Isolate and Condemn. We have walls to block, and yeah. Therefore, I don't want him Distortion Strike here. Win is still valuable against Ink of Nexus. Like, if he doesn't want to invest a pump spell here, that is also fine. Block this on the elf 4 times. And get some time to get this Uro going, because we don't have anything else. But Uro is also a big wall. And yeah, Aether Gust, of course, is also a nice spell against them, because Stunner Elf is green, Noble Hierarch is green, all their pump spells are green, protection is green, so the card in this matchup as well. Inkmoth Nexus not that threatening right now, because if he wants to activate it, he has 1 additional mana, so he either needs it to protect, mana to protect it, or he can't really pump it, so I don't know. I think he should invest a pump spell on Stunner Elf earlier to get around this wall. But now we can also just Stunner Elf and Burn or something. Could have done it here in response, but still want to put up cards here. And he has to invest first. Like, I can also block 1 more time. Or rather 2 more times. Like, this wall goes a very long way here. The wall dies, it hits our Uro, so good card. It was nice to have it on play, and he doesn't have an Blighted Agent here so far. So yeah, now I try to just Aether Gust. If he protects the elf, he protects the elf, whatever. Can kill the Inkmod Nexus. Therefore, he doesn't protect the elf and puts it even bottom. And yeah, Explosives is also nice in this matchup, so Protect is also good. So we have a lot of play here actually, and all this ramping really helps on this matchup because usually they try to get you in a tight mana situation, but since we have so much ramp with Growth Spiral, we can build around that, so not the worst here. So in this case, he sacrifices the Inkmoth for a Blighted Agent. Let's accept this trade. We can just play Explosives on 2. If he has Spell Pierce, we can pay that. With this agent, I think he has just drawn it, because if he had it earlier, I think he would have played it already against this wall. Keep the fetch land uncracked for now, because if we draw Path to Exile, then we can put it back on top. Fetching a Mystic Sanctuary. Still pay the Spell Pierce. There's no protection against destroy our decks, so don't think he plays Heroic Intervention, stuff like that. Just you can only really go to attack here, like wasting any pump spell now when we have explosives. It's useless. Don't understand this. I mean, I'm not forced to crack the explosives. If he just attacks for 1, I can also just wait and let him attack for 1. So much resources here that we can also just wait. We'll get the Ur going. Since he invested Might of Old Crozer, let's decide to blow up the agent. There's another Glistener Elf, but we play a 6/6, so he has to invest more to get around that. Really important in the early game to counter this Distortion Strike, because else he probably would have went all in. I put the Aether Gust on top because it's a removal against the elf as well. So at least we have a guaranteed interactive spell here. Can also prevent a pump spell or something. And here, 6/6 in front. Go. 3 mana up. Has Spell Pierce now. He can get the Aether Gust, but see, he has to get around. We just trade. Like, he has to pump up the elf. Bro, at least with 2 spells. Still great. Have Cryptic plus Aether Gust next turn, so all good. Then we draw Path to Exile. It's a good target for the second Sanctuary. Just attack here. Don't think he can kill us on 3 lands with Sand. And this puts the pressure on him. So now he's at 8. So Mana Leak is still live. We have Aether Gust and Path. There. He concedes. Alright. You can see I put all the removal spells to the right. It's for the browse deck mostly. Aether Gust, yeah, is still fine. As mentioned, Dovin's Veto, it's just a cheaper negate. Remand, not that great against a deck with cheap spells. Only really need 3 Uros. The clunky Planeswalkers against Mystical Dispute and Spell Pierce are not that great. And I mean, Whale of Summer can protect them, but then we need 6 mana for Hero of Dominaria, so I think we can win with what we have here. Like, Heal of the Dead is still fine. Finisher, so I also like Force, because it's very mana efficient, of course, to play it the opponent's turn when he tries to kill us. Opponent likely brings in Whale of Summer as well, Mystical Dispute, and sometimes they bring in Uro, but that is not that great probably against our deck. which is loaded with path exile effects anyways. Don't know if they bring or not. They start with Noble Hierarch. So I think we play Prairie Street here, get down the White Source SAP. And we have a Supreme Verdict here in hand, so we might catch them off guard. Up their whole board. But we might have to protect our Condemn next turn with Force. Get rid of this Blighted Agent, so wait and see. Does he have another land drop here? That is very important. Seems like the answer is no. We can't do anything against this here. Has to attack for Condemned or something. Now I put the stop in his damage step, because if he doesn't go for lead here, the creature is still attacking end of damage step and then post combat when the damage is already dealt. But now he wants to kill us for 10, and he has only one land open, so yeah. A lot of life here. He has only 2 cards in hand, and there was no protection spell apparently. So we got a nice 1 for 3 trade here. Now he's on the damage beatdown, but well, next turn we have Supreme Verdict followed into an Elder Gagaroth, which is actually not bad in this matchup because the reach means that he can also block Inkmoth Nexus. And it gets around Spell Pierce and Mystical Dispute nicely. So I like to bring it in here for a huge Dominaria. And yeah, just below up this board. Maybe he follows with a Blighted Agent, but he barely has any pump spells in hand, and we still have Dovin's Veto and Force to protect us a little bit. Okay, just a redraw or another Noble. Then it's time for the Gagaroth. And I think at this point he can't beat it. Like, we create such a fast block, just creating 3/3s, and yeah. So we get the 4-1 here. Rather easy matchup. Like this one, better ones, I think. And yeah, I mean, some bad luck against the Titan deck. Opponent played very well, of course. We was really leaning on small things, like if I get 6 mana in the 3rd game, or if I think I keep the Teferi in the 1st game for the pick maybe, because at this point it couldn't counter anything, but I was thinking, okay, the Mystic Sanctuary lock is still okay. Maybe even pitch Uro or something I have to watch, but I think we had a fair shot at the 1st game, how long it went. Of course, opponent had 3 Titans and 4 Summoners Pact, so and Cavern of Souls very early with the first Ancient Stirrings, we also very well. Nearly lost game 2, but then therefore we top decked the Supreme Verdict, so it was kind of revenge for the 1st game, so yeah, it was very close, so I can't really complain too much. Yeah, nothing else to tell about the deck. You have seen it throughout this league. Sometimes you draw exactly the lands you need, sometimes you draw too much, sometimes you draw too less, but there's not really anything I can do that because we don't have the space to run out of ops or Serum Visions or stuff like that. Of course, no brainstorms or ponders allowed in this format, so I mean, we already play 27, so I think the cases where we draw too few lands should be far fewer than before, but still situations where we have not drawn enough. Then again, like some games against, you could see it against Death Shadow where we have drawn like 12 lands and the opponent only has 3. Can go very bad if the opponent is a very mana efficient deck. Can still double spell with only 3 lands and stuff like that, so we are living on the edge, but if the deck works greatly, and I don't think there are a lot of very horrible matchups right now. Like, you have a fair shot probably winning against anything, even opponents that load up a lot of Graveyard Hate, like Spell Bombs, Cling to Dusts. You could see that the Urus still run away with some games, like against this show opponent today, so no, I don't want anything banned out of here. I think Uro is still fine for the format. There are other stuff, like there are decks that also do some root stuff if you want, some unfun stuff, quote unquote, if you want. I don't think it's very fun to play against Dredge, and still no one cares. And I also think that this deck can get around a few pieces of Graveyard Hate, so it's not that fragile as you might imagine. Of course, you can hate it with very specific cards, whereas against Bant Control, there's not a single card that can really hate it out. That is why I like this deck. You have a fair shot against winning everything, but there are not that much decks that you really stomp, kind of. I feel like the good matchups are, yeah, at this point, probably discard decks, because we have so much Urus, unless they run a lot of foils, maybe like some jump variants, and then you can beat them, so I really like what this deck is doing. Like, usually I would say that Ethervile decks are bad, but with the additional isolates here that can also get rid of Ethervile, and are good against one-drop stuff, like Champion of the Parish, Noble Hierarch, or even Utopia Sprawls sometimes. Arbor Elves, right? So fair shot, especially alongside Aether Gusts. So it is more like, are our cards lining up nicely to interact with the opponent early on? Then we have a pretty strong late game. If you want to prepare a little bit more for the mirror, you can maybe cut the rejections if you don't expect as much Tron. Whenever I do that, I face 3 times Tron in the row, and I hate this deck, so I still keep rejections. Could play some Mystical Disputes or what have you. We cut the Condemn for Mystical Dispute. I don't know. It's still customizable. Anyways, enough talking. The video is already long enough. I've already talked about this deck quite a lot, and if you want to see more of it, check out my other videos. Leave a like, comment, dislike, subscribe. That would really help me out. And yeah, hopefully catch you down the road when I upload my next video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and till then, Magic's out. Bye bye.